All right, welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I am Lupagus, and today the Minnesota Vikings introduced their three main coordinators. It was introduction day, and we're going to talk about it. Some nuggets that came out of that. Before we hop into that, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the vids. We are approaching 6,000 subscribers. Hope to be there before St. Patrick's Day. And when we do, we'll give something away. Not sure what that's going to be yet, but we'll do it for sure. So Minnesota Vikings introducing all the coordinators. Kevin O'Connell in attendance, introducing his the main three heads of his staff. And so O'Connell comes out, and they all were wearing these new Vikings polos, had like this weird cut, looked like they're kind of wearing a bra underneath. It was kind of strange. I didn't know what the heck was going on there first. O'Connell's was actually the worst of the four, just the way it was cut and looked. But anyway, that's not really what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about fashion. We're here to talk about Minnesota Vikings. Let's talk about Ed Dantel first. Ed Dantel is defensive coordinator. This guy came off very, very likable. He comes out there, he's thanking everybody for their questions. Oh, what a great question. What a great question. It was kind of weird. It was kind of fun. And really this guy, you look at him, he actually looks like if Mike Zimmer and Mr. Clean had a baby, you get Ed Dantel. Like if you put a mask on, him and Zimmer have the same eyes. But man, I really enjoyed Ed Donatel's time at the podium. He did have some things that actually were pretty cool to say. And to note, he said they'll be running 3-4 front and a 4-3. He said he wants to make it hard team to play against, wants to make it tough for the quarterback physically and mentally. So you'll be switching up between the 3-4 and the 4-3 during games, week in, week out. I suppose it depends who they're going with. So again, you're trying to prepare for the draft. Now we got to look for guys who fit in the 3-4 and the 4-3. So multifaceted players we'll be targeting. He said he wants to be a great tackling unit. He said takeaways is the foundation of his defense. He also said, which I thought was kind of cool, he said he has to learn their people. He has to learn the players, which is great. I love hearing that. Some guys just are so focused. Some coaches are so focused on their scheme. They want to draft guys who fit their schemes. Here he's saying that, he wants to learn the players, what they're best at, what they can do. To me, that said a lot. And I really, really like that. I think that's something that's going to get the best of a lot of these players on this roster already. He was asked about Kevin O'Connell and why he came here. He said he had a great connection with him from the start. And he said he stays young himself by welcoming new ideas. And Kevin O'Connell is definitely a guy who has some new ideas. He was asked about Daniel Hunter, how he would fit into this defense. He said he'll play outside linebacker and defensive end. It was kind of like he said it was a good question, but the way he answered it was kind of like, well, that's a dumb question. He said players would have their input. He actually made a really cool quote here. He said, how can you be the best if you aren't tapping into people? Which meant for himself, how can he be the best coach he can be if he's not asking people who he's coaching their input and getting what their thoughts are and how he can, how they can make him better, how he can make them better. So, I mean, to me, again, it's this theme of collaboration that was consistent through all these guys' press conferences, all their other times at the podium. He said it's important to have fun while you're working, which sounds like it's a 180 from what Mike Zimmer was doing, coaching through fear. He said it's important to have fun. He said, we're playing football. Why would you not want to have fun? He was asked about naming some players, how they fit in his defense. And he didn't name players, but he had a good reason. He said, I just don't want to leave anybody out. So I thought that was a great way to answer that question. He says he's excited to work with Mike Pettin, get his input. He said he's a great mind to pick when it comes to this defense. And then he also was asked about the corners. And he said, when you can get corners who can cover man-to-man on the outside, it's a great advantage. So definitely looking for that in the draft and free agency, corners who can cover guys man-to-man on the outside. So Ed Dantel knocked it out of the park. I don't know. Maybe my favorite of the three. I'm not sure yet. I haven't really quite decided. Wes Phillips now. Wes Phillips was definitely the driest of these three guys. He kind of looks like that dude from Parks and Rec. Reminds me of him. But he's got a beard, a little bit greasier looking. But anyway, Wes Phillips talked about not coaching through fear. He mentioned that specifically, which to me felt like a little bit of a shot at Mike Zimmer, because that's what Eric Hendricks said. He said they have a teaching approach. They want to teach these players. They want to have a relationship with them. They're all about teaching and helping these guys learn, which was, again, kind of refreshing to hear. He talked about getting the run game going is important, but he said winning is the most important. And he said there's going to be games where you're just going to have to bend the run. He mentioned Todd Bowles being a great run defender. Some of the schemes that he's come up against them as he's taking the run game out. And when that happens, he said you got to throw more. And that's just the way it is. So that kind of adjustment, that kind of changing up your philosophy, depending on who you're playing, that's a breath of fresh air, and that was good to hear. He said he's very, very pumped to work with Justin Jefferson. And he said he's as excited as anybody can be. He said he could be the best wide receiver in the league. He also heaped a bunch of praise on Kirk Cousins. He had a great football arm, good athlete. He said, I mean, nothing but positive things to say about Kirk Cousins. It actually was the most positive we've heard from anyone in the staff about Kirk Cousins since Kevin O'Connell's introductory press conference last week. So Wes Phillips, yeah, he has some good things to share, and he seems like he's fine. He just, of the three, he was a little, I don't know, the least charismatic, we'll say that. Let's go to Mike Daniels. Mike Daniels, special teams coordinator. Like this guy too, man. He looks like he could play right now. His biceps are just ripping out of that shirt. I think he would connect to players. I mean, hell, he looks like he looks like a player. He looks young. I think he's on the same level with these guys as far as mindset goes. I think he's going to be great as far as having a great relationship with his players. What I loved about him, he said it's all about attack, aggressive. So that comes to trying to block a field goal, a punt, hauling ass down the field, on punt coverage, on kick coverage to make a tackle, attack. I love that mentality when it comes to special teams. He said he's already talked to Kenny Ngwangu. He says, I want to know, does he like to go right? Does he like to go left? Does he like to go up the middle? And he's willing to, do his blocking schemes based on the preference of the returner, which I thought was another great thing to hear. I mean, you got a successful coaches have to change their plans based on their personnel. And it sounds like everybody in the system, that's what they keep preaching. He said he hopes Greg Joseph and Jordan Berry are with the team next year. He couldn't confirm anything. He looked a little uncomfortable when asked about it, but definitely he wants them back. He talked about Greg Joseph's for a little bit. Kicker, he said, talk about quieting the kicker's mind. He talked about Joseph's progress over the last couple of years to where, he had a rough start to his career to where he's gotten to be now. He said he wants the kickers to quiet their mind, have mental toughness. He said it's lonely as hell being a kicker, and he just doesn't want his kicker thinking too much. So, I mean, what else can you do with a kicker? You got to let them do their own thing. And the fact that he's aware of all these things, I thought was great to hear. So, again, he's very open to getting his players' input as far as what they want to do, what they want to work on, what they could change to be better. So, and that was really the overall theme from all these guys was collaboration, working together, working with your players, getting their thoughts on things. And that sounds like a complete change from the staff that was here prior, at least from what we've heard after Zimmer was fired, from some guys who were talking about it. So overall, pretty impressed with all three of these guys. Obviously, Daniels, Dantel, a little more charismatic, a little more outgoing than Wes Phillips, but I'm excited for all three. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about these the three main coaches, I guess, when it comes to Kevin O'Connell's staff. And what do you thought of the press conference? Were you excited? Were you not excited? Any other nuggets you want to talk about? But overall, I thought it was pretty good, and I like the staff that's put together here. So, all right, that is all I got for you guys today. There's only one other thing to say, and that is to keep your skull in your hole.